The canopy is the only refreshing thing. Just random enough to feel new. Just familiar enough to feel safe. The shade makes you forget the sun, the cool but apathetic breeze. The trees look like aged protectors. Their resiliency is betrayed by the imperfect angles they stand on. They certainly look like they found their ground, unlike you. The amalgamation of dirt, rock, and plant bump and dip unevenly beneath your feet. It is uncomfortable, and you want to move. Devoid of malice, this discomfort also feels oddly right. The leaves are fragile and lightly crunch in all the right ways. The blanket of brittle gold, faded crimson, and bleached bronze scattered like play toys in the ground does not clash with the almost naive-looking ever-present green. The colors mix together to paint the tapestry of an ever-present battle that fluctuates in volume. It always seems to end in loud, white noise. It is overwhelming, and you want to move. Still you stand a century, observing the centuries of aimless living work. The more you look, the more you see. You see damaged scales of bark where trees are. You see mischievous, puffy-faced clouds peeking at you through the canopy where the blue sky was. You see an ecosystem of reflective bugs skittering where your unmarked path lies. Suddenly, you're surrounded. Not by anything quite like you, nothing that can speak your language, but by things that are also lost but can never realize that they are. Your isolation has become a spotlight. It is vulnerable, and you want to move. The air isn't even uniform. It smells light, gentle, almost like chicken, and also death. That chemical, round, hollow smell that hides atop the stench of anatomy, but filtered 1,000 times older. You worry it'll dry out your nose. Then a breeze will carry a stronger aroma. It won't last long, but it's unmistakably heavy. Like fish, and also like running water, that storm-like smell, like someone smushed a plant till all that was left was a filmy residue. It smells gross, but thriving, unceasing. It clears any worries of dryness. It is contradictory, and you want to move. If life is math, your surroundings are a chaos theory proof. In a finite system of logical conclusions, you still cannot predict what you see next. The topography of tree trunks twisting and turning to touch. The curves of cool, colored clumps of cumulonimbus clouds covering. The ungraspable geometry of the geology generously generated across the ground. Which way could home possibly be? Which way could home possibly look? Which way could home possibly be? You shut your eyes. Though you see nothing, it exists regardless. You clasp your ears, though you hear nothing, it exists regardless. You place your identity, your being, in your mind, detaching your sense of self away from your senses. You ignore the heat from the sun, the cool from the breeze, the contact of the soil, the hands over your ears, the warmth of the labored breathing from your nose onto your upper lip. Though you erase yourself, it exists regardless. The world outside still exists. The world inside still exists. they are the same. The impact one has another, while not symmetric, is still real and of consequence. If space is unyielding, you try moving in time. There, home is, its essence immutable. If there is a soul, or at very least a stubborn, buggy log of rules, it was born here. The textures of memories is variable, even if it is safer to remember the ones you shouldn't touch. Still, there's a wordless concreteness to it. Like no matter what you do, no matter how you paint the photo you see, you cannot change the observation. No matter where you move, you cannot approach. There, home was. The details are fickle, the edges frayed. They conveniently, almost subconsciously, fit to best contextualize where you are now. When it ages, the flooring is replaced, the photos are touched up, and after enough repair, you know it doesn't quite all fit together. The craftsmanship is variable, even if there is always something charming about having it done yourself. Still, there's an unsettling dreaminess to it. Like no matter what you do, no matter what angle you choose to render, you cannot help but notice the flatness. No matter where you stand, you cannot immerse. Frozen, you run on ahead. Here, you can only draw from imagination. Here, you draw a blank. How infuriating. Not just the frustration of a creative drought, but the gall to ask for a cup at all. How utterly patronizing to ignore the variables and claim character, a caricature, a mask solves a damn thing at all. To know the world for all its rampant, beautiful, horrifying disregard, and to ask to distill that down to a picture you can see coming? How arrogant. There is a power in knowing your own powerlessness. You can paint a picture that will never see the light of day. If the world's disregard is infinite, then there will be no punishment for daring to hope. There's nothing cosmically damning about the hubris to try and make a narrative out of noise. There is no shame in self-pity. There's only where you are and where you go. Your fear is justified and will be again. If the only future you can imagine is one where you are stagnant, then live. Be offended, be afraid, and then be everything else. That too is a distillation. Just continue to be when you want to. The light makes its way, and first, paving an aggressive path for the rest of the world to follow with its ceaseless sensations. You don't want to move, so you sit down.